This is Express Training Bites, and today we have Walter Kurt with 3K Consultants, one of my longest friends in Texas. In fact, he was actually the first person from Texas in promo that I met before I even moved to Texas. Isn't that right, Walter?
That is absolutely correct.
It was a chance encounter at a Jetline party at PPAI Expo. I know him and I are both going to miss that in 2021, but we hope everybody stays safe and we can get through this pandemic and get back to those live shows, or see each other on promoshow.com. So there's always that as well. Walter is our guest today, and he is going to speak to us about 3 tips on how you can create your own content during this time where we're all virtual. So Walter, take it away.
Thanks, Brandon. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on here today. And I'm going to start out by quoting Greg S. Reed. I had this quote on Facebook back 8 years ago. A dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal written down into steps becomes a plan. A plan backed by action makes your dreams come true. It's very, very important that you write your dreams down and make them a goal, and then take that goal and put it into steps so it becomes a plan. Because that plan, once that plan is in place, you can act on that plan, and your dreams do come true, as they say at Disney. But that's from Greg S. Reed, R-E-I-D. As many of you know, I started my podcast or vlog when the pandemic started back in March, and became full-fledged. And I thought, well, let me do something that's constructive. And I had for about 11 years done Facebook Live with a Walter's Wednesdays Words of Wisdom every Wednesday. And so I thought, well, let me do this live. Tried to start it live, and long story short, it became a show that I tape. I'm going on my 100th episode that will be airing soon. But some of the tips that I wanted to give you today, and I'll run down this list, and hopefully it helps you, and you can maybe one day have your own vlog or podcast. First of all, don't add to the noise. That was very important to me when I started back in March with this. I didn't want to. I wanted to add something to the mix. I didn't want to just add to the noise or other podcasts that were out there. I wanted to add something different. I wanted to provide a different perspective on things. Um, Along with that, consider your content carefully. What you want to put out there. Is it relevant? Are people going to um, come and watch it? Um, and along with that, timing is everything. I just so happened, like I said, started in March with it, and timing was right when I started it. So make sure those 3 things are there. Think about it, and then moving on to the second one, be genuine, be honest, and be graceful / grateful. It's always been very, very important to me to be genuine. What you see is what you get. I don't want, and you shouldn't want people out there seeing a side of you that's not genuine. Be yourself. What you see is what you get. Be honest, and be graceful with your guest, and grateful to the audience that you have out there. Don't ever take them for granted. Third, don't be afraid of failure. We all fail. When I very first started this back in March, I made mistakes, and if you look back at the videos that I did back in March, even months later, there were mistakes, but I wanted to do them without any editing, because hey, we're human. We make mistakes, and you're allowed to make mistakes. So don't be hard on yourself, if you should make mistakes. And I have actually two bonus tips. Um, the first one is try to stay consistent. And I know you hear that a lot out there, but stay consistent and don't get down on yourself if you don't. But try to stay consistent. Just realize that it's your show and you control the way it is or it should be. So if for some reason, like myself, as of late, it I quite frankly was getting a little burned out, so I pulled back a little bit. I was starting to get hard on myself, and that I wasn't consistently putting it out there multiple times a week. But hey, it's my show, and I can control whether I want to put it on 5 days a week, 3 days a week, 2 days a week, one day a week. So just try to stay consistent, but don't be down on yourself if you're not able to accomplish that. And finally, the last one, and this is a bonus one for you as well. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. I over the 100 episodes that I filmed, I actually have reached out to people from all walks of life, not just within the promotional products industry. I've reached out to tattoo artists, circus people, um, country music artists, you name it. Um, don't be afraid to reach out to those people. They're people just like you and I, and a lot of them are very flattered that you are reaching out or do reach out. They have a story to tell and they want to tell their story. So it's a platform for them to be able to tell their story. So don't be afraid to reach out to anybody and everybody. And if they say no, just move on to the next one. There's plenty of people out there. Just like in the promotional products field, there are plenty of customers out there. When one says no, you go to the next one. They say no, you go to the next one. So don't be afraid to reach out to people, and no is no, and that's okay. It's okay to be rejected, and it's you never know, you may end up getting somebody better on that show than the person you were actually reaching out to. So those are my three and my two bonus tips for you. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Walter, thank you so much, man. And I know that we hear these tips a lot, right? Especially the one where it's be genuine, consistent. We hear those a bunch, but I think the two that I am more impressed by you with, and actually we have a comment in here. Lori Moore says, "Wow, 100 episodes. Congratulations. I've always admired your consistency." So yeah, the consistency is a big thing. And I had we had Brittany from Gold Bond on this show, and she was actually talking about how consistency doesn't actually mean you have to do it at the exact same time on the exact same day. You
That's
don't have
true.
to be that
Exactly.
regimented. Just be consistent with it enough that you gain a following. So the other thing that I want you to talk a little bit more on is your number one tip. Don't add to the noise. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what you mean by that?
Well, there at the time, I mean, as you know, there's a lot of content out there, and I wanted to provide help. I wanted people out there, and as you know, it goes out to, it doesn't only go out to the promotional products field. It's out there for everybody to see, and I wanted to provide a different perspective. I wanted people out there to realize that we're in this. This is a global thing. This is not my show. Happens, if you haven't seen it. My show happens to be, the questions that I ask are concerning the pandemic and creative ideas, and what people think going forward. So I wanted people take a different perspective and see different perspectives on different industries, not just the promotional products field, but like I said, tattoo artists, a guy that has a small circus, a country music singer that may not be a Garth Brooks or a George Strait or some of the other more popular artists out there. So I wanted their perspective to come through, so people out there could see, hey, we're not in this alone. We may be in the promotional product field, but country music's going through this, tattoo artists are going through this, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, and that leads to your second bonus point, which was don't be afraid to reach out to people. That's the other thing that has impressed me about your show, and I'm so pumped on it because it is inside and outside of the industry. Because this pandemic is way bigger than our tiny little industry. It is everybody in the entire world is affected by this, and you're giving people a platform to tell their story. And oh wow, they're experiencing the same things we are, but maybe they have a different solution that we can apply to our industry. So I know you've reached out to the mayor of promo, you've reached out to lawyers and, like you said, circus people and all that. How do you go about finding a guest like that? Where do you start?
Um, Actually, I subscribe to a lot of email newsletters from different industries, and I've reached out there. I've reached out on Facebook. I've reached out on Instagram, and some kind of disappointing. Some haven't responded back, but that's okay. I mean, I realize they're busy and they have things going on as well. But all sorts of different avenues. A lot on Facebook. I'll go and see somebody, or I'll see something in a newsletter, and I'll go to their Facebook page or their Instagram page, and just send a note out and introducing myself and telling them what I'm doing. And if they would like to participate, I would love to have the opportunity to have them on. And uh, it's been uh, heartwarming to get the wonderful response that I've gotten so far.
And that's so cool because it's not like you're Fox or CNN reaching out to people with a
Exactly.
with a mat.
I'm just Walter Kurt in the promotional products field.
It's so awesome too that I mean, and that has got to feel good for you and for them to like to one be noticed by somebody that in an industry that maybe they didn't even know existed, and the massive benefit to doing this, to reaching out to people outside of the industry, is maybe now you're having potential customers. Another Express Training Bites guest, Sam Cabert, talks about that all the time.
Exactly.
He said, when you bring guests on, you're not selling to your audience, you're selling to your guest. So without sharing too many numbers or projects, have you had any of those guests turn into potential clients?
Yes, yes, they have. And I'd like to see more, but that's not that wasn't my objective to begin with.
A happy accident, as
So
Bob Ross would
yeah,
say,
yeah,
right?
exactly. I mean, it comes with as they say, it comes with the territory. So it's a good byproduct of having a show. And like I tell everybody that comes on my show, some people have said, well, it's your show, so and I always tell them, no, it's really not my show. I just happen to moderate it. I just happen to ask the questions, but it's really all my guests. It's their show,
Yep.
and so that's the way I look at that.
That's awesome, man. That is so awesome. Now, I know I've made my fair share of mistakes when I first started going live and doing video on my own. And actually, I think you know this lady, Kathy, wrote that mistakes are learning tools, and that couldn't be more, on point. So, what are some mistakes that you made at the beginning that you have fixed in your later episodes?
Actually, I started taping with one guest and called them the wrong name. So I stopped it. Thankfully, it was at the beginning of the beginning of the taping, so I just stopped it and restarted it. He was good with it, but a little bit embarrassing. So I think that's probably the worst mistake I've made. And as you go along, you get better and better as things go along. But every once in a while, you kind of stumble, and if you don't, um, where the consistency comes in, if you don't do it on a consistent basis. So, say if I only tape once a week, I'm not going to be as sharp as if I tape 5 days a week.
Exactly.
It's like boom, 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 and so I'm sharp, and I know what I want to say and how to say it.
So we actually have a comment that just came in here on Facebook, and it's from a lady named Deb. And you can obviously, anybody, if you have any questions, you can always put them in the Facebook comments there. Walter will be in there afterwards answering them via text as well, but we're going to try and get to as many as we can live here. So Deb asks, did you have any interview experience? Did you begin with any interview experience?
No, like I said earlier, I have had Walter's Wednesday's Words of Wisdom on for ever since Facebook put the live on Facebook. So I've been doing that for probably 11 years, I believe. But interviewing people, no,
No, like no, nothing formal. So you
no.
just were used to looking into either like I think you and I have talked about this. Didn't you start on a flip camera?
Yes, actually, I did. Yes, and actually, Outbound Engine, um, they before it was Outbound Engine, I can't remember what it was, but they had a contest, and I ended up winning the contest. So, and I still have it somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I still have it. I wonder
That
if it
is
works.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. I mean, there's a one of the largest YouTubers out there. His name's Mr. Beast, and he talks about it all the time. He said, if you can't make quality content with a 240p camera, you're never going to make good content with a 4K camera.
That's
So
true.
just being out there and doing it and doing this stuff all like as often as you can on a consistent basis, over 100 episodes. You're coming up on 100 episodes. Congratulations, Walter. That's
Thank you.
massive. That is
Thank you.
massive.
Thank you. Yeah, you're exactly right. Um, and I don't have a fancy setup, so there again, you don't have to have a fancy setup to get started. I started with just a camera, a web camera with built-in microphone. Um,
Awesome.
and I continually I'm trying to uh, upgrade and upgrade and upgrade, but you don't have to have all this fancy equipment to be able to do it. And after all, it's the the most important part is talking to people and having guests. That's the most important part.
Yep.
It's not vitally important to have a $3,000 camera so you can make sure that it's as clear.
Exactly.
Um, Now down the road, if it becomes an issue of 100,000, a million viewers, well, then we'll talk. But
Exactly. Exactly.
until that happens,
Or if you're in my case where your hobby ended up turning into your job that now turns into you filming commercials for companies, it's like, you better step your gear game up, buddy, if you're going to be
exactly,
selling this
exactly.
stuff. Oh, that's awesome. I totally appreciate the conversation today. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Can you give us those 3 tips and then those 2 bonus again, just real quick?
Sure, not a problem. So don't add to the noise. Consider your content carefully. Timing is everything. Be genuine, honest, graceful slash grateful. Don't be afraid of failure. You're allowed to make mistakes. Try to stay consistent, but don't get down on yourself. It's your show, so you control the way it should or shouldn't be. And don't be afraid to reach out to hard to reach people.
That is so awesome. You guys, you can check out his show, and he does post it on his personal page and on the business page. Walter, where are the best places people can watch this video series?
You can go to my personal page. It's public. I make the videos public. It's Walter Kurt, Kurt, and it's on my personal page. And I think Facebook, they've kind of messed around with some things. So, but it's under videos. So if you can find videos, they're all there, all almost 100 of them.
Awesome.
And I know Kathy is posting on 3K Consultants page, and it's the number 3K as in Kurt and Consultants. So and that's on Facebook as well.
Perfect. That's awesome. So, do you know when your 100th episode is going to drop, or is that are you still in the editing phase?
I am planning or going to try either next week or the following week.
Awesome. Awesome.
So,
Ooh, congratulations, man.
well,
That's a
thank you.
big number.
Thank you. I certainly appreciate it. I'm mighty proud of it. It's been a work from the heart.
That is awesome. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching this Express Training Bites. If Walter and I can do video, I know that you can too. Get out there and go create something awesome. And we'll see you next Thursday for Express Training Bites on Promo Corner.